This is a mid-1960s Sony micro TV 5-307, and I thought I would just do a quick video on this. These are kind of always popping up on the groups and forums and stuff because they're cute and small, and one thing about them is they always need a lot of electrolytic capacitors. They have an antenna input on the side here, and there's a couple different types of adapters you can get. This is all metal construction. So the model number is 5-307, and there's always a bunch of questions about how do I get this going. This is a full little CRT TV. I think it has 3 little tiny vacuum tubes in the high voltage tripler circuit, but besides that it's mostly Sony custom germanium transistors. And I worked on a lot of these. One of these days I'll do a full comprehensive video on restoring one. This is just going to be kind of a crash, let's get it going kind of thing. This needs to be fixed in real quick order just to work for a motion picture filming. So I believe they said the issue with this was noise in the picture when the volume is turned up, which would be probably a filter capacitor in the power supply. So let's get it powered up and have a look. Alright, let's see what happens here. I got the DirecTV box fed into it.
My name is Anita. I think the older you get, you realize you need to do everything you can to stay healthy. So I take Balance of Nature. We know we're supposed to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables every day. So Balance of Nature is a great way. It helps give you lots of energy. And it's good to have lots of energy if you're hanging out with your grandkids a lot. I take Balance of Nature so that I can...
Not only that, but they are also minted in 99.9%.
Well, I don't know about the volume, but the vertical lock is really soft.
Morgans, but you must hurry. Only 175,000 legal tender silver dollars were issued. These Morgan silver dollars are brand new, bright and shiny legal tender coins minted by the iconic Philadelphia...
And it's a really bright picture. It's a really bright, good picture.
And you are guaranteed a new 99.9% pure silver...
And the buzz and the audio detector needs to be adjusted.
Call 1-800-333 about cancellation claims. If you are confused or if you want answers, we can help. We are Keller Postman, and more Marines and their families have chosen us for their cancellation claims than any other law firm. We are Marines, West Point grads, and Harvard-trained lawyers, and we've worked at the highest levels of government. We have the experience and resources to help you finally get the justice you deserve.
Yes.
When you're ready, call us 800-800-4220. That's 800-800-4220.
All across the country, people are working hard to build a better future. So we're hard at work, helping them achieve financial freedom. We're providing greater access to investing, with low-cost options to help maximize savings. From the plains to the coasts, we help Americans invest for their future.
Really soft vertical lock, so...
Invested in the future of Americans. BlackRock.
Oh, yes. Yes, BlackRock. Yeah, it really cares about America. Let's go over the inside real quick. And this one actually looks like it's had some work done to it by the shiny joints here. So this is the deflection board. And I think 2 screws here, and it lifts up and it pulls out of here. You can totally remove it very easily. It does have some push-on wire connectors. These pots go bad on the side here too. This could just be an AGC adjustment issue, but I'm going to check the caps while I'm in here. And then over here on the side, these are the power supply filter caps. And again, it looks like there's been some replacement here of capacitors. You can see there's one that looks like it's been paralleled. So someone's worked on this before. It's down here. This is the IF. Several capacitors here that are probably open. And this is a little bit tougher to service. You can see the transistors are Sony. This right here is, boy, and that capacitor looks completely malleolated on top. This looks like it's been partially recapped. This is the audio amp board right here. So these are your audio output transistors, and this one I think is the toughest board to work on, but there's a lot of these little plug type things that unplug, like this is the IF from the tuner. So that's about the whole of it. And all these little gray capacitors are going to be open. Well, this has obviously been recapped, but these little gray ones are all going to be open. And they all need to be changed. Most of these you'll find the CRTs are good in because, of course, no one used anything this small long enough to run the life out on the CRT. So you had 2 screws in the front, and then this just comes out. And then there's several wires on the bottom that unplug. So you want to take pictures and notes on this. And it looks like that pot has been replaced. These pots do go bad quite often. I do have the schematic for this, and it's from 1966. So I will show you the capacitor. I would suspect, and this schematic might be broken into different okay. So this uses a vertical blocking transformer. That's kind of interesting. So I might be sort of suspicious of this because the sync signal comes in through here. Might be interested in this, definitely. So this is probably on a different board. This is probably on the board on the bottom, the sync separator. Because see how we got this plug right here? So C25 is probably on the top board, and if this emitter capacitor was weak or open, it might cause a low sync signal. So, of course, the sync signal comes out of here and then goes in to keep the vertical locked. So we definitely want to look at this area. 1 microfarad, C24. Yeah. And then just generally kind of use the ESR meter to check all the capacitors. I might put this file on the computer so we can look at not this. Actually, now that I look at the bigger picture here, I'm sort of interested in this one, C23, the sync separator, C24, and I'm interested in C17 on the AGC line, and I'm interested in C16 in the AGC line. I'm sort of interested in C30 on the vertical oscillator. Any of those, I think, because they're a lower frequency, the vertical's a lower frequency, they would affect, if they were open, it would affect the vertical sync lock more than the horizontal. So yeah, I gotta find 23, 24, 16, and 17. And it does have 3 little 1DK1 tubes configured as a high voltage tripler inside the flyback box. Interesting, so C23 and 24 are not electrolytics. Okay, they are those other tantalum capacitors. So 16 and 17. Here's 17. This is on the IF board. 17 is an electrolytic. Interesting, a correction. They are actually electrolytic. These are the two sync separator capacitors. On the picture, they're those other ones that Sony uses. They're little tantalum capacitors, and those don't dry out. They just short. So, and then over here would be the AGC capacitors. See, I think this board needs to come off, or maybe I can get to these from the top. Maybe I can get the probes underneath these and keep poking it with a pin. Yeah, maybe I can finger my way down in there. So surprisingly, that one is not bad, and that one is not bad. Well, that one's not bad either. Kind of taking a side trip to the sound here with all the buzzing. These would be the areas we would want to adjust to eliminate that buzz, but I might want to check this C18, this electrolytic right here, because this stabilizing capacitor could possibly cause the buzzing. I don't see any other ones in here. We're going to get back to the vertical circuit. I just figured since I was in the bottom I would check this out. C18. Those are the two transformers right there to adjust to minimize the buzz. This is the stabilizing capacitor, and it's measuring about 30 ohms, so it's pretty tired, but I don't think 30 ohms is gonna be so low that this thing won't work. Here's the deflection board removed, and I did take pictures of all of these wires so I can put them back. But one thing I would note is we're starting to see these green capacitors go bad. So just keep that in mind. I'm not saying they're bad in this set, but we are starting to see them go bad. There was a whole article about these capacitors going bad and killing the color in vintage video game consoles. So it's happening. They're just old. But I'm going to check the rest of the caps here, and we'll go from there. Let's see the cute little deflection yoke there. It's a full TV, it's just micro. I pulled the IF board out, and I'm not finding any open capacitors. I mean, there's some of these that are, you know, low, but not low to the point where they're going to cause a problem. It looks like somebody went through this and replaced all the open capacitors. So I'm just going to keep checking here, but this board is really not serviceable. This one does not unplug and come out. This would be a real difficult thing to remove. Maybe that lead laying next to the high voltage cup is what's causing it. Look at the cute little high voltage cup. I'm moving that wire out of the way so it's not touching the thing. I found one 3.3 here that's almost completely open, and that is that capacitor right there in the second IF. Hey, here's a new one right here. 3 ohms. I replaced these 8. They were bad. It says here to adjust the buzz, you want to adjust the ratio detector 8 located on the bottom. So that one right there is A8. So that would be the blue right here. So we'll put a mark there and we'll tweakificate that if changing this capacitor didn't fix it. All right, well, the capacitors fixed learn to speak. The capacitors seem to have fixed the vertical sync issue. The vertical lock is much better. And I'm just kind of tuning around here. Let's adjust this buzz thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the DirecTV box on the television guide.
Crossing the country to pull the United States together and commercially connect cities and towns everywhere. And then they could talk to each other on their telephones, so parents could start keeping track of their kids, and the kids could talk to their grandparents. Don't want to forget that either. All this in about a 40-year span. Really? Did you ever think of anything so unbelievable as this story? It's true. It's rooted in free market capitalism, when men and women were free to use their God-given talents, where success was rewarded, where labor became easier, and families could be together. All this to make lives better. All this to make America better and prosperous, and a world power, the likes of which had never been seen before or, frankly, since. This is what freedom brings. This is why Joe Biden's socialist anti-freedom policies have to be stopped. Now, did these entrepreneurs get rich? Yeah, they did. But contrary to the lefty historians, rich is not bad. Rich is not evil. Rich came from the fruits of their minds and their labors. Check this out. Every one of those industrialists became great philanthropists. That's what they did. They gave their money away. And that's, to me, one of the great definitions of...
We have some crepe erase.
Katie and I just took positions here as staff internists.
Music. Oh, I love that. That's an excellent repair. That's awesome.
Underneath, what I have on this coat's coming up next. Okay, so the top's only $31.88, and look at the features. Look at the detail on this. Maya's going to join me for 764-839. I love the crocheted hem. Even on the sleeve, there's some lace too. So feminine, so pretty. We have it in dusty olive. We have it in the ivory.
Okay, again, just to recap, these are pretty popular. They show up a lot. The Sony micro TVs from the 60s. They're really well built. They're really awesome little sets. They do all need capacitors, unfortunately. Someone had done a bunch of recapping in this, but they missed a few of the smaller capacitors on the IF board that were causing the vertical sync issue. This is adjusting the horizontal hold. So now we have a crochet dip of a TV. So you find these, they're fairly easy to work on if you're okay with working on small stuff, and you just take your time and use solder wick. Really well built. Kind of awesome, kind of pointless and useless. I mean, I don't know who would voluntarily want to watch this thing, but it is cute. And I bet the price of these just went up tenfold on eBay. So I'll do a more comprehensive video one of these days on these. I have quite a few of them, and I believe I even have a brand new old stock CRT that a viewer sent me. So we'll get deeper into this. This was just a kind of a quick crash course in capacitative reclamation. So happiness can prevail. I have replaced the fuse. So happiness will prevail. I also cut a new piece of cardstock to cover the board because things can fall through the grill, liquid and stuff can fall through this grill onto the board. So originally it had like a piece of felt type paper stuff that was probably more thermally transparent than this, but this is only going to be used for very short intermittent times, not on for hours.
Excuse me, I ordered a Zima, not emphysema. Please, don't smoke in our restaurant. We don't serve contemporary California cuisine in your lungs.
This is one of the best Simpsons ever done. It's called A Fish Called Selma, and if you can get the original uncut version, it's amazing. And I'm sure this will get copyright tagged because of... This whole thing is so deep. This every
My cigars.
My God, it's like 5 cigarettes at once. Oh, my head is swimming.
Just a second, baby.
Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas. Dr. Zayas, Dr. Zayas.
Of course, this is picking on Rock Me Amadeus, but the voice was Phil Hartman, and of course his wife shot him, and that was big news out here in LA. He was 2 or 3 of the main characters, and he was kind of this sarcastic takeoff.
Filled it with water. Hi, I'm Troy McClure, your future uncle.
Hi, I remember you from such film strips as Locker Room Towel Fight, The Blinding of Larry Driscoll.
You know,
Are you gay?
gay. I wish. If I were gay, there'd be no problem. No, what I have is a romantic abnormality. One so unbelievable that it must be hidden from the public at all costs. You suck.